So today on the Dig podcast, I have Aimee Oliver, and Aimee is the founder of Bodyfit Mums. Aimee is a very inspirational person to listen to, and you'll definitely feel totally inspired and energized after you listen to the podcast today. I just know it. Aimee talks to us on the podcast about her business journey, about how she was as floored when COVID hit as the rest of us, but she didn't let that stop her. She turned her passion for her community into something real and now virtual as well. So she has now transitioned her whole business to online, and it has grown phenomenally over the past year, and it's actually very inspiring to listen to, but also motivational, and makes you feel like I can do this, I can turn my business around like this. And I guarantee when you listen, you'll definitely feel that way. She definitely stresses how important her community is, how important her tribe is, and how they keep her going even when she feels like she can't do any more mountain climbers. She knows she does that for her community. So she also talks about social media, and I'm always asking questions about that on the podcast, but she believes she wouldn't really have the business she has today if it wasn't for social media, and how she shows up every day. She's consistent and she brings value, and she loves to collaborate, which you'll hear about as well, and how that's kind of key for her in her growth strategy on social media. So I hope you enjoy listening to her as much as I enjoy talking to her. The Dig podcast is a podcast that focuses on business life and all things social media. It's a place of learning, and one where you can take away actionable tips that you can put into practice straight away in your business. I hope it inspires you to reach your goals and never give up on that dream. So Aimee, tell us, how do you do this? Tell us what's happened and how you've got to kind of where you are today, like a wee synopsis of it.
I don't know. Can I say that I wing everything?
You do not. No, you do not.
I swear, I feel like I just wing life and just kind of, I'm like 100 miles an hour, and then I take like a breather and go, okay, let's go again. And that's literally what it feels like, but that's been the norm for me my whole life. And I think it's just, I'm so passionate about what I do, and when you're so passionate about what you do, it doesn't really feel like effort. On the outside world, even like my mum and my dad like consistently say to me, you need to stop, like you need to slow down a bit. Not stop, but take a breather. But I've just always been like that, and I think when people have known me, they just think, oh, that's just Aimee. You know, I'm just always one that would always have organised things before, or just like, I say organise things, but organise in my head. Like I'm just not, I don't know. I just kind of love what I do, so it doesn't really feel like effort, and it's just...
And everybody loves you because you now have over 500 women on your programs. So tell us a little bit about how you got to here. Like, what's your business journey been?
So Bodyfit Mums, it actually used to be called Mumfit. So Bodyfit Mums itself has been here for 4 years. And before I went into university, I always knew that I wanted to do something in relation to sport and exercise and fitness. Definitely knew I wanted to do something with females. And it only really took a while until after I had Lily, I just realised that there was absolutely nothing in Northern Ireland for mums. And it actually really took me back a wee bit, because I had always been like a gym goer and obviously worked in gyms and everything else. But when it came to after I had Lily and Matthew went back to work and everybody was at work and I was sitting at home, I was like, how do I exercise? Like I have nobody to look after Lily. I can't like bring her to the gym with me. I was like, why? When I started searching, I was like, why is there nothing in Northern Ireland? There's tons of stuff in England. So it literally, as cliche as it sounds, literally put pen to paper and thought, what do I need to do here? What would be achievable? What is the barriers to exercise for mums? Childcare, like it was the biggest thing. Stuff during the day, because there's no point in having it at night time, because then you're tired, yourself. So I thought, well, you've all this time during the day, why can't it be that your exercise program is where you can bring your baby, you can meet other mums, you're going to do stuff during the day, but it's all for the kids, baby massage, all of that. There's nothing for you as such. So that's literally how it came about. And I was very lucky enough, because I was still working in the gym at the time, and I just asked them, I said, look, on the times that I'm not teaching the other classes, can I trial this out? And they were very, very good. And I just started with like one person, and then 2, and then kept the groups to 4, and then it basically expanded to 8. So after that, then Jack was I was pregnant with Jack and I was on my maternity, and it was the first time that I was able to put my all into Bodyfit Mums, and it just went mental. And I kind of went, oh, what am I going to do here? I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do both. And I was so torn because I loved teaching classes and I loved, obviously, you know, the craziness and the wildness, and then obviously pre and postnatal is a bit more subdued. So I thought, well, there's always another level after that. So I was like, I'm not going to be not stuck, but you know, you can make it that it's not just the first 6 weeks. It can be a community that you can build, and you can stay in that community, because once you're with somebody that you love and trust and you build friends, you don't want to go. And I think that's why Bodyfit Mums is so big, because once you're in it, you don't want to leave, sort of thing. And that's, I would love to say that it's all about the program, and yes, obviously the program is amazing, but it's the community, like, you know yourself, you know.
But that's what makes you stand out, and I think that's what a lot of businesses will want to be hearing today. And what's so important is building a community, because they're what support you and drive you and are there on the dark days, like the COVID days. You know, they're never going to let you down. So like, we're going to talk about the community that you've built, which is just phenomenal. But I want to talk about what happened, what I've talked about in every podcast. But like, as you say, we all went, well, I wasn't part of Bodyfit Mums then, but when it was face to face, you just done face to face. So then you're told there's a pandemic, you can't do face to face anymore. What did you think in your head?
I remember the last class I was in the YMCA in Portadown.
Everybody always remembers where they were.
It's weird.
When they heard.
And I remember the guy who was in charge of the bookings, and he's also a politician. And I remember walking out to him in the middle of the class, because it was the talk of everything. Everybody didn't know what was going on. And I remember walking out to him, and he was just like, "It's game over." And I was like, "Okay." And I actually like remember taking a minute, going in the door, and I was like, "How am I going to tell all of these women that that's it, we can't come back?" And I didn't, and I swear to God, I never once thought about the business. I was all like, how am I going to tell these women that we can't come back to this? I actually feel getting emotional even talking about it now. But I'll never forget, one of the clients was sitting in the corner and she had twins. Why am I getting emotional talking about this?
Because you care. Because you care.
And she literally, whenever I said to them, and I remember her looking at me going, I need this. Like, it's hard.
So that's why, Aimee, like whenever I'm telling all you now that there's a community, this is, like, I am always a great advocate for, you have to care before you think about money. And I think Aimee is a prime example of that, because she's now sitting in tears. But just to let her like bring herself around a wee bit, I just want to say that that's kind of, when you're thinking about your business, if you have to care about the people that you serve, and when that happens, then magic happens. And that's definitely what happened with Bodyfit Mums. Like, all these women depend on this service, and she thought of them first. And when you always put your customer and your client first, that's whenever like great things happen. And that's definitely what happened then. Whenever the man said game over, you knew it wasn't game over. So what happened then? How did you get that?
So I probably cried for about 2 weeks, literally. And I just remember it was just like I woke up one day and it was just a flick, and I was like, right, this isn't going to change unless you just pick yourself up, and you've got too many people that rely on Bodyfit Mums. And I remember saying to my husband, I was like, right, it's online, like, you know, what's the difference? You know, obviously you don't see people. Yeah, we can do this. So I actually started with the trial of the pre-recorded first, and I actually started with what still to this day, a year later, is Bodyfit Mums, the Facebook Lives, which I'm sure you've seen are absolutely nuts. But we just I started doing that, and then meeting up with the...
So stop there. So there'd be people listening, they were like, no, rewind. How did you do that? So you said you started to do pre-recorded. So how do you pre-record? What did you do?
So basically, I remember saying to Matthew, and he was like, right, I have a friend who can record something, and we just needed a room. So it was actually one of a lovely client of mine who had lent me a space, and we just, basically, I asked the guy, I said, look, I've got a program here, I just need to record it, see how it goes. And in my mind, I had always wanted to do pre-recorded online, because there was so many people in Northern Ireland that couldn't go to Belfast, Portadown, Lisburn and Armagh, where it was at the time. So it had always been in the back of my mind saying, right, well, you need to be able to spread your wings. And I'd always thought, people always used to say to me about, what do you call it, franchising.
Yes.
And the one thing I said about franchising was, but that's not, that could be anybody taking it, and I like to be in control, and I like to know who's going to be in front of my clients, etc., on a personal level. So I said no to that. So the next thought was, well, you could be everywhere but be recorded. So it was in the back of my mind, but I never had the time for it, and COVID gave me the time, which is now when I look back, like, I'm obviously extremely lucky that I've been able to have that time, and I know my business has been able to transfer onto that, and I know everybody can't do that, so I am extremely grateful for that. But yeah, it was just kind of a friend of a friend, somebody else who we knew, and just kind of put it together. It was hard, I'll not lie, and my business is massively driven on social media. Like, I wouldn't have a business if it wasn't for that. And I suppose it was just kind of word of mouth and just trying to spread the fact that, you know, this was the option now.
And then how did you then have that pre-recorded on a website, and they bought that pre-recording on the website?
So I had my original platform, which is what we use for the face-to-face, the phase one. So whenever you booked on to phase one face-to-face, you actually also had a wee bit of at-home stuff as well. So I was able to transfer that onto the system that I already had. And basically I just set people up with an account as if they were in the face-to-face side of things, and they just played the video through that.
And is that, so I feel like I'm getting every single bit of information out of here, but is that a web company that manages that for you?
Yeah.
Like, you're saying that, like...
So Icon Creative were the team that had built me a system to try and take off admin from me, because there were so many women in the 4 locations. I needed a booking system, so they designed a bespoke, and it's amazing. It's been going so strong for the last 4 years. But then we were able to then change that so that all I had to do was create an account manually and then set people up. But you see, whenever I just say I just had to, it took days. Like, because the system wasn't designed for that amount of people either. It was just, 8 people in a group here, 8 people in a group here. So that was tough going, to be honest with you. But it was the only thing that we could do, and it was worth it.
And then what happened?
So then I had the big decision to make was, do we go to Zoom? And I didn't like Zoom. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't like the fact that people's signals could go, and people, I don't know why I didn't like it at the start. I probably was too hard on it. But I missed the personal touch. I didn't like the whole just behind a screen. So that was another decision to transfer that to Zoom, and we've now been doing that for the last 4 or 5 blocks, I think. So the pre-recorded was something that needed to be done and was always going to be there, but it was kind of like a trial. And then I made the decision to put a lot of money and time and effort and blood and sweat and a lot of tears into it, and that's what Bodyfit Mums at Home is now. So we have the Zoom, which is in replace of the face-to-face. And then we have Bodyfit Mums at Home, which is the pre-recorded. And the whole idea then moving forward, hopefully, will be that face-to-face goes back, Bodyfit Mums at Home will remain pre-recorded, and people will be able to have the option of both.
So basically now, I know, and I don't say this flippantly, but COVID helped you grow your business.
Yeah, that's why I keep saying, like, I'm so lucky that it did. And I suppose it didn't just come to me on a plate. Obviously, I just had to make the decision and say, right, well, I'm never going to get this time back again. And it was the time. And I never had the time, and I don't know where I would have been able to fit it in. But it's blew my mind how much you can actually get done at home. And it's funny because I never would have once thought that the business would have been able to transfer it online where people wanted to stay online. Because now I'm in the predicament where restrictions are starting to lift. But because I work with mums, although they get to bring their children with them, you still have to pack a bag, you still have to, drive there, drive back. You might have, God knows what happens on the way getting there, God knows if you've brought enough change of clothes, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's easier just to throw a gym gear top on, maybe wear your pajama bottoms and do the workout. You don't have to move. And yes, the kids are crawling over you, but it takes the thinking out of going to a workout, and it also helps with people who aren't just as confident going to the likes of a face-to-face program as well. So I think there definitely is now that the market for both, and I think I probably will be in the predicament of, do we go completely back full time? Do we have face-to-face Zoom and the pre-recorded?
I have always wanted the Dig podcast to be a place of learning and a place of inspiration, but I've also wanted it to be a place where businesses can gain exposure. That's why I'm so excited to open up the Dig podcast to businesses and allow them to pitch their business to you.
Here at Kitty's Corner Omagh, we've been supplying the local community in Northern Ireland and beyond with high quality products from trusted brands for over 30 years. We are a family run business with knowledgeable and passionate staff who have been here for many years helping grow the business into what we are today. We only stock brands that we know can be trusted and that are of the highest quality and safety. Eye Candy, Egg, Oyster, Mamas and Papas and Up a Baby are just a few of the brands available here, along with the very popular local brand Little Love Blankets. One of the most popular features is that we offer payment plans on all our products, which allows families to select all the products they need for their little one's arrival, and they can pay off as they go along. From nursery furniture to prams, there's everything you'll need for your new baby or growing child here at Kitty's Corner Omagh. We also have a wide range of toys that would be perfect for birthday and Christmas gifts, including peg pergo and brooder toys for all the future farmers. We are delighted to have our doors open again to offer in-store one-to-one appointments where you can see all the products and ask any questions you may have. Our store is located in Market House Omagh, just behind Dunnes Stores, and has plenty of parking available to make your shopping experience easier. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Kitty's Corner Omagh, or on our website at kittyscornerna.com.
That's where.
Zoom. What she said, I feel now that I don't even have to get into a car and wash my face, I don't even have to wash my face, I can do a workout
But still have the personal, so that, I think that's where I'm going to be at.
So you're going to be everywhere is what you're saying. You're going to be face to face, you're going to be Zoom, you're going to be pre-recorded.
And there's going to be there's going to be that many programs. People are already confused about where you can go. But
so that's what I want to talk about. So basically you have a lot going on, and I guess it's about how do you convey that message. And you, as you said, you use social to convey your message. But you kind of have a good strategy now set up for that, don't you, on your socials? Like, how do people find out?
So the way I did think about separating the two, the Bodyfit Mums and the home and the Bodyfit Mums, but I just thought no, because the community is all one. No matter if you're on phase one, the Facebook Lives or the pre-recorded, they all still feel part of it. So now, it was obviously thanks to you and your guidance as well, was I've now got highlight buttons. Why I never thought about that is beyond me. But yes, highlight buttons to explain about obviously each program. And
so just to rewind a wee bit for anybody that is listening, doesn't know what the hell are they talking about, highlight buttons. So a lot of Aimee's community hang out on Instagram. So on Instagram you have little highlight buttons that you can have, which are like evergreen content that stays there. If someone clicks in, they're going to constantly know about your programs, and it's kind of like a portal for all your information. So if you go on to Bodyfit Mums, you can literally tap all our highlights and hear about all our courses. That's just in case anybody's listening saying no clue what highlights is. But yeah, so she has that sus now. But now that she's gathered her emotions together, we're going to talk about her community. So like I said, I think that your business only grows in that way, in that huge way, when people love and believe in you, and that's definitely. How did you do that? Like, people are going to be listening going, well, I want a community, and I try, but I know it comes naturally, but was there any specific things that you did to help make that feel like a community?
I think the programs are like the base part, like the base. And once you give somebody or people a space to kind of gather to, and you make that space welcoming and safe, and when people want to express their emotions and their feelings, and you put a group of mums together who are all basically kind of feeling the same thing in one way or form, and you're just kind of, I don't know how to even explain it. Word of mouth is a massive thing, and whenever you are creating an experience for somebody, that you're basically not a number. You're not a number. Okay. It's like a personal thing.
I don't think you can see what you do, only if you're on the outside looking in. So there's WhatsApp groups, right? So Aimee is not only focusing on like her Instagram, but she creates groups of women that are all kind of on the same level, and I'm
Can
in
I
one of
actually
those.
tell you how many I have? Because somebody asked me this and I actually found a way to check how many WhatsApp. So I currently have, there's actually over 3,000 people in my WhatsApp groups at the moment, which is absolutely insane. And I would say easily current, like there's still WhatsApp group chats going from over 3 years ago, and that is no word of a lie. Like they're all going out for walks still, they're all doing this. And I would never like, funny, people always say, well, do you write into them all? It's like, well, I do. And you do get the ability to skim
Yes.
read and stuff. But I would never leave a group. I would never, you can't delete a group anyway, but I would never leave one. Not for just because I like to know how everyone's getting on and how everyone's kind of, and I think to me, they're your friends, they're not your clients, and I think that knowing that you're not a number and you're part of your community for the real reasons, because you care about people and the people around you care about you, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah.
3,000.
It's crazy. No, it actually is insane, because I can't let go of that part. And people keep saying you need to get somebody to do admin, but I can't let go of that personal side of things. And that's why I think Bodyfit Mum stands out from the rest, because it is that personal touch, and I don't want somebody to just talk to somebody who's just going to give them the answer. I want to know about their story and maybe why they're struggling with this and how I can help. And if I can't help them, somebody in that community definitely can.
Wow. So, obviously it's hard. It's not easy what Aimee does. I'm part of one of the WhatsApp groups, and I can see how intense it is, and people's throwing in different things from their days and stuff, and she's always there. But, it is hard, don't get me wrong, for another business to create that. But once you do,
I know,
it's magic. So I as an outsider looking in, the community you've built is unbelievable. And also, when we were allowed to, Aimee always had events and brought people together and all that is needed. I think in today's world, people expect that kind of feeling of togetherness.
I think thinking outside the box, I love doing the things that people don't want to do or not necessarily want to do, but things that take a lot of time. And I think when you see the outcome of that, the glitter party event, that one on Zoom, Katrina and I literally, it was mental. So you remember you had to bring this stuff to Dungannon and everything.
So this is another, so people are listening going, well, how do I do it? We're locked down, we're not hopefully easing out of it now. So Aimee, was that for a celebration of some sort?
That was for the birthday, 4th birthday.
Celebrating her 4th birthday. So if you were in business and you're in lockdown and you had a birthday, maybe possibly 90% of people might say, oh, well, we'll celebrate, when we open back up again. No. This woman that was Aimee had a glitter Zoom party, which, how many women logged in that night?
It's 100 and, I can't remember what it was.
All paid to be there because it was raising money for charity. She delivered goodie bags to every single person at drop-off locations throughout the country, and we all had glitter on our faces on Zoom, having a drink, non-alcoholic or alcoholic, whatever you preferred, and we were a community for a night. Aimee wasn't making any money. It wasn't about that. It was about growing her tribe. And if you're listening, that's the kind of things that I think is needed and is brilliant for business. So yes, glitter Zoom party, first one I've ever attended. I'm sure that'll be the last one now that I'm part of Bodyfit Mums. But so I've written down here, I wanted to talk to you about your community and your tribe and how you've built this movement of women. So it hasn't been a quick fix, it's been a long-term building up, and but it's not stopping anytime soon.
It's probably also, I'm not gonna lie, it has, obviously there's the positives on that, but it's it can have a bad side of it to family time and stuff as well. Being on your phone constantly is something that I have, my husband is not on social media, so it's quite hard to explain, that it's non-stop. People will message at 4 a.m. when they're sitting talking, doing night feeds, and you just have to, it's just part of it, and people just say, how do you keep up with it? And I suppose you just get used to it, but it is non-stop. But I would never give that up, because I know how it positively affects not only just the business side of things, but the community part of it. And if I took that away, or people used to say, you need to have working hours, not a chance. You know what I mean? I can't. You're just.
Who said that? That doesn't
But you know what I mean? It would never work.
I understand what they mean, but it's not real. When you have your own business, that's not real.
No. And I do get, you have to have a time off and everything else, but
But you can actually give yourself anxiety about thinking about trying to get
No, I can't, no.
You know, people who like, oh my God, I really need to put my phone down. Like, this is not good. But you can give yourself anxiety thinking about the fact you need to put your phone down. But at the end of the day, this is your work. And if you were, you know, working in a supermarket or working anywhere and you were doing your work, no one would say anything to you. But when you're sitting with your phone in your hand, people don't see that as work. And so I think it's a mindset shift for your family as well. I had to talk a lot to Jared, and now he understands that, you know, this is actually like him going and lifting a welder.
Yeah.
He's a welder. I'm like, would I shout at you for lifting a welder? No. Well then, don't shout at me for lifting my phone. So now he sees that and he gets it, and that's like a weight off you whenever no one's saying anything to you. But I'm sure you're on yours a lot more than me. But so I've written here, and we kind of skipped on. Let's talk about Bodyfit Mums at home, and technically how did you put all that together. But I know we've talked a bit about it, but I was actually in one of your recordings, so it wasn't just, I just threw together you know, and I guess if you're going to do something online, people expect now the same service that they would get on face-to-face. So tell us a wee bit about how you rolled that out, because it wasn't easy.
No, it was, I think that's probably been the hardest thing for me, to be honest with you, for so many different reasons. But it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for, if you think about it, like I had Katrina in them with me. I had all of those mums, like there was over 20 people in the filming that you were in. And I think everybody just like came together, and because I had this vision and I just wanted to make it as loud and as fun and as professional as I possibly could. Like my cousin did the production, and it was great because do you want to give him a shout out there?
Yes, well, I'll be linking everyone anyway in the show notes that we're talking about, but who was that?
So that was Slack Press Studio. So we always used to joke about, we were really, really close when we were younger, and he was always like the creative one. I was always kind of, well, he's crazy too, to be fair. But it was just so nice that we were able to do something together, and something that, to be honest with you, I don't think he knew what he signed up for, to be honest. But it was just fun. It was just so much fun. And Katrina and I did the filming for the postnatal, and then the beyond was just something else. Like we had all the food, people donating. Remember Kelly from the Clean Kitchen, Susie Lee cooking the books. We had Glennis coming down. We had Una cookies and stuff.
So this is to bring in another thing that Aimee does. She collaborates with businesses, so people want to get involved in things like that. And I think businesses need to put themselves out there to ask as well, and say, look, I'm doing this really cool thing. Do you want to get involved? And no one actually, everybody wants to kind of get involved.
That's literally what it was. Like some of the people that contacted me, I contacted them, and I just wanted to make it another way for businesses to promote themselves during COVID and whatever else at the time. But it was just, I wouldn't have been able to do it without everybody coming together with me. But when you've such a strong vision for something and you wanted to make it as big and as good as you possibly can, like once I get something in my head, that's it. Like there's no going back. But it was hard. It was like 2 a.m. jobs most nights. The actual website itself, so when you actually buy the program, it's not just the video. There's everything. There's the nutrition sections, there's the physio sections, there's the forum, there's everything. The whole website design was a lot of work from Icon Creative as well. Then we brought out the gym gear, which is on the same website, so that was a whole different there was a lot of work. But it's been amazing, and the feedback, like see if I could tell you the feedback, it actually would make me go to cry again. But
I can only dig you out of the crying once.
I know, but like I even got one last night, and it was a girl, and these are people I don't know, and it's crazy because people are buying it. For like, there's a girl in America, there's loads of people in Australia doing it. And whenever like they're sending you a message saying, I've just completed my program, I actually cannot thank you and the team enough for making it such a fun, welcoming environment. I felt like I was part of it. That is just, I am just like, that was it. That was the main goal. And you know, but now in my head I'm going, right,
what am I going to do next?
What am I going to do next?
Oh God,
but,
I wonder what it's going to be.
So that is really hard to pull together. I wouldn't have been here without. I mean, that was the other good thing about the at home for the one that you were in. It was the fact that it was like, you know, people, fitness street. So I had people who I used to work with for years. So the girls from Arise Fitness, Kirsty and Lynn Morgan, they're all PTs and trainers that I trained with for years. So to have them on the stage with me doing this thing was unreal. To have all the mums, to have you guys, it was just like every single workout, I had somebody different with me on the stage that meant something so important. You know, there's so many different sentimental values to it. So much so that because it was an intense, how long did we do it over? I can't remember, but I ended up having to do I did 18 workouts, filming like full 45-minute shebang, and I was dead after. But the very last one that we filmed, the 2 girls from Arise Training were with me, and I as always, it was the last round, and I literally just couldn't stop crying. And it was like the last move when we were doing mountain climbers and stuff, and then everybody obviously was socially distanced and watching the very final kind of finale sort of thing. And I think it just hit me. All the work, all the year of the whole emotion, everything just hit me in the face, and I just couldn't. And we left it in. Oh. And so everybody who buys Beyond, technically,
they're probably feeling like that anyway.
I actually have to write an explanation, and I say, guys, I'm a bit emotional here, but so many people have wrote messages who have obviously finished the program and said, I was crying with you, and I don't even know you. So, because my cousin, obviously, whenever he filmed it, he said, do you want to, will we do it again? And I was just like, do you know what? Why? Because that's the raw me. That's like the emotion and the passion. Oh, it's just, yeah. So we left it in. So if you want to see me bawling in the middle of a workout, go and buy Bodyfit Beyond.
That's unreal though. It just shows the real person behind the business, and it was blood, sweat, and literally tears.
Yeah.
And then we did talk at the start there about social media. So we know, anyone that knows you knows that you very much run your business through social. So just tell us a wee bit about how that has kind of grew for you, and where it started and where you're at now, and how you feel about the whole social media movement.
I started out originally through Facebook, so I can actually remember the very first post. It actually makes me cringe thinking about them.
Don't even look back. I say don't even look back.
Like literally, but I remember them, and I still get the odd memory coming up, and it makes me shudder. But I started off with Facebook, and I was so late to the game with Instagram. I think because Facebook, I was one of those, I just kept plugging, and it was working for me. Because the whole kind of getting the word out about, mums and fitness and bringing kids to classes, it was unique at the time, and it was. So it definitely was a big thing, Facebook, for me. But then I think the thought, and I knew how much time and effort it took to keep on top of it all. So I think that kind of worried me a wee bit about kind of doubling the workload. But I love Instagram. Instagram is friggin' lethal. And it just, I think once I got the hang of it, and I think you were probably one of the first people about stories, and I remember going, oh, no. I was because I have verbal diarrhea as it is, and I also can't speak, so I'll think of something and then I'll mix 2 words together. You've probably seen that. Sure, yesterday's was a kerfuffle. I ended up calling things that I shouldn't have said. But it has literally been, I think, for the last year and a half, the reason why the business has got bigger. Because I think it's the shares and the stories, and as you said, the collaborations with other businesses. Once I started to realise that, well, you can actually help another business at the same time as them helping you, why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. And I think competitions and stuff would be a massive thing now. And I think it's just so good, because not only are you helping to get the word out, but you're helping another business at the same time, and then somebody's winning this amazing prize. But I think the biggest thing for me is just meeting people, and people like yourself and Annette and Jill, and there's Danielle, and I wouldn't have met all these people if it wasn't through social media. And I think social media, I suppose, at times can get a bad name for itself, but it's only been positive for me. And I don't honestly believe that Bodyfit Mums would be as strong as it is without it. Because it's also another way that people can express how they feel about a certain business as well. And I think it's also a really, really good tool to keep on track of, what's moving ahead and what you need to kind of keep up with as well.
And do you create content for Instagram and Facebook, or do you do the same content across both?
I kind of tweak it a wee bit as such, because the Instagram world, I think, is definitely moving faster than Facebook. I could be wrong with that. But kind of the similar sort of stuff, nothing really would change at the moment. Reels. Oh my goodness.
Reels, the dreaded word that everybody hates.
But you know what? The first one Katrina and I had done, we completely, I think it took us about 7 hours, no word of a lie, but it was some crack at the same time. But it was amazing, the reach that it got, okay, and how it did even with the gym gear and stuff. Yeah, so I'm still getting the hang of those, and then you watch Ashley from OSOFEM firing up a thing and just getting out of it and going, nah, hell no, I'll not be able to do that.
I know, like everybody, I always said to people, don't beat yourselves up. Like, we aren't flipping graphic designers and people that can do these animated movies. Like, you know, that is a skill, and we are, you know, you're a fitness and, you know, what am I? I don't even know what to say, and I'm a social media consultant, but I think that people can get very hung up on the real thing, but I actually find a really great this is just what I do. I'm very good at, familiar with, I should say, InShot, the app.
Oh yes.
So I just create my content.
You actually showed me InShot as well. Yeah. I use that quite a bit now too.
I use InShot and then I just post it up on Reels. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like I feel like that's revolutionary. I just edit it over there and fire it up and Reels. But there is now, we're going to have Jill from Home at Rose Cottage. We're interviewing her in the podcast, and she's going to tell us she's going to, just scrap everything that we've said. But yeah, look, I know there's so many different things on Instagram, I suppose, and that's why it moves faster, like Instagram TV and Reels and stories, and whereas Facebook is more, set back in that respect. But yeah, like I definitely see you every day on Instagram, like, and that's kind of key, isn't it? Consistency.
It is. At the start it felt kind of like a job in itself, but then whenever I kind of just realised, well, you don't have to make. I think if it's the more natural and more that relaxed about it that you are. At the start, I remember going, "Hi, I am Aimee from Bodyfit Mum," sort of thing, and now I'm like, "See these children," you know. I think the more natural you are, and I actually was speaking to another business about this not so long ago, and hers is quite a personal business as well, and she was really, really afraid of it at the start, but it only took her a couple of weeks, and now she's just talking away as if she's, been doing it for so long. So I think it is a scary place at the start, but I think it definitely helps in the business sense massively.
Definitely. And I've written here, have you any tips for business owners who may be struggling to embrace, so we've kind of touched on it there, embrace social media, or maybe or like you're saying, talking away, they're making it sound like it's me and you do it so easily every day, but we know it's not. But have you any tips about how people could embrace it, and also maybe something about how to start trying to build their community as well? I suppose if you do one, it starts to build the other.
Yeah, it definitely do. I think being relatable, if in a business sense, I think if you're relatable to the people that you're trying to target, I think that's a massive thing, because with working with mums, the way I thought of it was, right, well, they don't want to see all the clean cut sort of stuff. They want to see me freaking having an absolute meltdown, or the kids having a meltdown, and then they make it go, oh, well, she's a normal person. And I think that's really important as well, to be you. And I think that definitely helps reach the people that you are trying to reach. My biggest thing, I suppose, is collaborations. I think they're great. I think it's so good, because not only, as I said before, you're helping yourself, but you're also helping another business. Like collaborating with you as well before has been massive, and if you think of all the other girls in the businesses before, and then I think it becomes easier because you're not by yourself doing it as much. I think whenever you're working with other people, then they can kind of help you and you can help them, and you don't feel as alone. I think social media can be a bit kind of scary at times, but when you've got other people around you, so collaborations, I would definitely say are a massive thing. Especially, like, there's a company, Jackson Reese, who I'm going to be doing stuff with, and they're like from Warringstown, and everything's natural baby white products, so that's relatable to my clientele and vice versa. But it's such a cool thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that in itself, it's just finding somebody else in a small business that you can help and they can help you. So I think collaborations are a massive
thing. Out of
the
whole conversation we've had today, if anybody takes away anything, I definitely think people listen to the podcast to try and take things away that they can start doing. If they start to collaborate, even on a small scale, like, people start to get so much more interested when you're not just talking about yourself.
No, exactly. Because then you've more to talk about then as well. And I think then it becomes what you're trying to say has more value to it as well. No, I'm definitely, I think it's the community part of me as well. Yes. I think it's just, I'm not a sole rider sort of thing. I think it's just having others on the journey with you, whether it's in business or whether it's in helping other businesses or social media. I think it's just so good to be part of something. Yeah.
Unreal. So obviously, I know I said this on nearly the end of every podcast, but I could talk to you all day. Well, you're my friend as well, so that's why. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming. Like, there will be people listening and be like, they're still going to say, how the hell does she do all that? But you do it because you're a hard worker and you're determined and you've got a vision and you're not stopping until you get there. And then when you get there, you're going to set a new vision for something else. But it's very inspirational to listen to, is just all I want to say. And you should be so proud of everything that you've created. So everybody's going to want to know how they can see this madness every day. So where can they find you? Like, tell us your handles and your website and all that jazz.
So there's Bodyfit Mums for Instagram and Facebook. Then for the Zooms currently, because they're obviously in replace of the face-to-face, it's bodyfitmums.co.uk. And that's for the prenatal Zooms and the postnatal Zooms. And then the new pre-recorded side of things is bodyfitmumsathome.com, and that's where all the gym gear and the pre-recorded programs are as well.
Thank you so much, Aimee.
No, I'm sorry for crying on you.
I can't believe it. I'm a crier too, so you're lucky I didn't start, or we both would have been good. No, it's fine. Thank you so much. It just shows how passionate you are. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the Dig podcast. If you missed anything, we've made some show notes with links and all the good stuff we've covered today. Also, don't forget to screenshot this episode and tag Dig for Success so we can reshare on our stories. So remember to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all on the next episode.